From our Toronto studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum. I am Aliya Batool. The Chicago Tribune is under fire after 5 Muslim journalists left the newsroom in recent weeks. This and more in today's show, so stay tuned. An imam in Florida has been detained by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, after decades of refusing to spy on fellow Muslims. The Intercept details the case of Imam Fuad Farahi, who lived in Florida for more than 30 years. Nearly 2 decades ago, FBI agents tried to force him to spy on fellow Muslims, warning that deportation could follow if he refused. He said no, he stayed, but under constant scrutiny. Experts say that since September 11, 2001, immigration enforcement in the U.S. has often doubled as a tool of pressure. Authorities have used the threat of deportation to push immigrants into becoming informants. The message is stark: cooperation or risk detention, exile, or worse. In June, Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents came for Farahi again. He was moved through multiple detention centers before ending up in New Mexico's troubled Torrance County facility. His treatment has long raised questions about whether the FBI weaponized immigration enforcement as a tool of coercion and what it means when saying no to the government results in a life sentence in limbo. Lawyers and rights groups say this has left many trapped between loyalty to their communities and fear of government power. The Chicago Tribune is under fire after 5 Muslim journalists left the newsroom in recent weeks. The departures came after Alden Global Capital, the Tribune's owner, began staff cuts through layoffs, buyouts, and reassignments 2 months ago. According to the Chicago Tribune Guild, 9 colleagues have left since the process began. 3 were directly laid off, and all were Muslim. 2 other Muslim journalists left through buyouts or reassignments. The Guild condemns the outcome, saying it severely reduces Muslim representation in the newsroom and damaged the paper's journalism. The union said the colleagues brought perspectives that made the Tribune better, and they told stories others could not. Union leaders stressed that these journalists provided representation for communities often ignored by the media and helped Chicago understand diverse experiences. They are demanding an explanation from Tribune management and more respect for Muslim journalists in the future. A BBC investigation has revealed that members of a far-right U.S. biker gang are guarding aid distribution sites in Gaza. The Infidels Motorcycle Club is known for anti-Islam rhetoric and violent imagery. 10 of its members are confirmed to be working in Gaza for UG Solutions, a private contractor. The company provides security at Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, or GHF sites, which is run by Israel and the U.S. Israel and American mercenaries have killed more than 2,000 Palestinians at or near GHF distribution sites and convoys in Gaza since late May 2025. 7 senior gang members oversee operations. UG Solutions defended its hiring, saying it does not screen out people for what it called personal hobbies or affiliations. Experts say the revelation raises concerns about who controls life-saving aid in Gaza and why a group hostile to Muslims is in charge of armed security. Free Palestine supporters disrupted a dinner with President Donald Trump and cabinet members Tuesday night in Washington. The event was held at a restaurant near the White House. Vice President J.D. Vance, Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio had joined Trump. The dinner was meant to showcase the administration's crime crackdown and highlight safety gains in the Capitol. Activists from Code Pink interrupted, chanting "Free DC, Free Palestine." They accused Trump of terrorizing Washington communities and Gaza. Demonstrators also rallied outside the restaurant. Before the dinner, Trump credited his deployment of federal law enforcement and National Guard troops to the city with reducing crime in Washington. He hinted at expanding the operation, suggesting more federal crackdowns in Democratic-led cities. The dinner marked a rare public outing for Trump, who has avoided Washington restaurants since beginning his second term. Meanwhile, more than 1,000 students from 4 Washington universities protested at Trump's takeover of the city's police and deployment of National Guard troops. Students from American, Georgetown, George Washington, and Howard universities joined the demonstration, supported by Senator Ed Markey and Representative Pramila Jayapal. Protesters carried signs reading, "We won't be silent," warning that the effects of Trump's actions will spread nationwide. Trump has ordered the removal of a decades-old anti-war protest tent. The tent stood in Lafayette Park, directly across from the White House. Israeli soldiers across Gaza have killed 53 Palestinians since Wednesday dawn, hospital officials said. Most of the victims, 38 people, died in Gaza City as Israeli forces intensified air and drone attacks. 5 more Palestinians, including a child, also died of starvation in the besieged territory in the last 24 hours, according to the health ministry. This is due to Israel's ongoing months-long blockade of food and humanitarian aid to Gaza. That brings famine-related deaths since October 2023 to 404, including 141 children. One airstrike on tents sheltering displaced families west of Gaza City killed at least 15. Another destroyed a residential tower, killing 2 people. Israel's genocide in Gaza has killed at least 65,000 people since October 2023, most of them women, children, and the elderly. Thousands more are believed to be under the rubble. Earlier this month, the International Association of Genocide Scholars issued a statement saying that Israel's actions in Gaza meet the legal definition of genocide. Last November, the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for war crimes and crimes against humanity in Gaza. Israel also faced a genocide case at the International Court of Justice for its violence in the region. The global summit Flotilla says one of its boats was hit again by a suspected drone. The aid convoy is preparing to sail from Tunisia to Gaza to deliver humanitarian aid to the region, which Israel has blockaded since March 2nd. No injuries were reported. Activist Leila Hagazi described the strike on the vessel Alma during her shift change. She said this was the second drone strike in 2 nights. Another activist said they saw the drone hovering just above before it sparked a fire. The fire was quickly put out. Organizers say these attacks are intimidation tactics meant to scare participants, but they insist we will not be deterred. Earlier, the flotilla reported its main ship, the family boat, also was hit. The convoy includes more than 50 vessels and 150 activists from several continents. They plan to break Israel's blockade and deliver aid to Gaza, where famine has been declared. Hate crime investigation launched after pig heads discovered at mosques near Paris. Details come after the break. Welcome back. At least 6 pig heads were found Tuesday outside mosques across the Paris area. Police said the desecrations took place in Montrouge, Malakoff, and Montreal, and 3 Paris districts. One was placed in front of Montreal's Islam Mosque. Another was found in a suitcase in the 18th arrondissement. Authorities confirmed that some of the heads were painted with the word Macron. Surveillance cameras showed a masked man leaving one head at dawn. Shams Eddin Hafiz, rector of the Grand Mosque of Paris, called it a new step in rising anti-Muslim hatred and urged national solidarity. French leaders condemned the acts. Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo said they were racist and vowed legal action. Political parties across the spectrum denounced the incidents. Socialist leader Olivier Faure warned Muslims were being targeted in their places of worship. The Paris prosecutor's office has opened a hate crime investigation. Global military spending hit a record $2.7 trillion in 2024. The rise was seen across all 5 regions, making it the steepest jump in 30 years. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said the world is investing far more in war than peace. He noted that just $300 billion could end extreme poverty, a fraction of what was spent on weapons. The UN said last year's military bill was 750 times larger than its regular budget. It was also 13 times greater than total development aid given by wealthy countries. Guterres stresses that even small cuts to military budgets could fund schools, healthcare, clean energy, and climate adaptation. UN Disarmament Chief Izumi Nakamitsu said shifting spending is no longer a choice, but an imperative for humanity's survival. The United Nations says 362 villages in Afghanistan remain unreachable after last week's deadly earthquake. The quake struck eastern Kunar province, killing at least 2,200 people and destroying homes and entire communities. UN humanitarian coordinator Shannon O'Hara, speaking in the city of Jalalabad, said the tremor devastated some of the most remote, rural areas of the country. She said blocked roads and rugged terrain are preventing aid convoys from getting through. Survivors are in urgent need of food, water, and shelter. The UN is working with Afghan authorities to open access routes, but conditions remain extremely difficult. Poland says its forces shot down 19 Russian drones that crossed into its airspace overnight. The military confirmed the interceptions took place in the east of the country. No casualties were reported, though debris damaged homes and property. NATO jets from Poland, the Netherlands, and Italy also scrambled in response. It marks the first time a NATO member has directly fired at Russian drones in the war. Prime Minister Donald Tusk warned that Europe is closer to conflict than at any time since World War II. He urged NATO allies to reinforce Poland's air defenses. The UK and Germany condemned the airspace violations and expressed solidarity. Officials say the message to Moscow is clear. Poland will defend its skies and NATO stands united. The American Academy of Family Physicians, or AAFP, is urging all adults, children, and pregnant women to get COVID-19 vaccinations. This calls for beyond the federal government's recent limits. The Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, approved updated shots in August, but only for people 65 and older or those with health risks. AAFP Chief Medical Officer Margot Savoy says vaccines have stopped deadly diseases in the past and can do so again. She calls vaccination a collective responsibility. The American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology also recommends boosters before, during, and after pregnancy. College President Stephen Flichman says vaccines prevent severe outcomes in pregnant women and their babies. The American Academy of Pediatrics have also backed shots for children. Federal officials say policy must follow evidence. A Department of Health and Human Services spokesperson stresses that its advisory committee, not politics, guides vaccine policy in the United States. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.